What name you want to be known by?
Dave Clinch.
Thank you. What is your first language?
English.
And where you come from?
Ireland.
Thank
Southern Ireland. Era.
Thank you.
Dublin.
And do you find anything similar in your country and North Devon?
Actually, yeah. Ireland is known as it's mainly rural, and North Devon is rural. So seasonally, it's a lot of greenery, a lot of similarity. Some of the landscape is similar to Ireland as well. The Ireland that I know, anyway, of mainly the southeast of Ireland, southwest of Ireland as well, by the Atlantic Ocean. I have family there in West Clare, and some of the coastline is similar. And as in North Devon, some very spectacular coastline.
Okay, thank you. And do you find differences?
Differences, yeah. Well, the obvious differences, I suppose, is dialect, accent and dialect. Although in Devon there seems to be less fewer people speaking in real Devonshire dialect than in past years, shall we say. But differences, it's hard to say really, because kind of wherever I lay my hat, that's my home. And people can be very welcoming, and occasionally you might meet people who are a little less welcoming. But even in Ireland, where I come from, which is known for its hospitality, that can happen as well. So it's not, you can't generalise, about it. Devonians that I know, and others, but if we're talking about Devonians, not a problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will say I was born in a city. I was born in Dublin, and when we came to Ireland, from Ireland to England, I moved to another city, London. So nearly all my life, up till I was 50, nearly all of it was spent in the city. So I'm a city boy really, but I enjoy rural life as well. But I like towns. I wouldn't like to be totally isolated. Where I live in Torrington is quite good, but I wouldn't like to be isolated. I like people around and the bustle of life.
Thank you. And can you tell us the story? How did you come to live to North Devon?
Yeah, I was teaching in London, in southeast London, Lewisham, and Liz, my wife, is a teacher as well, or was a teacher then, and we have friends, a friend of Liz's from when she taught in primary school in London in the mid-1970s, and they moved to Torrington because her husband was working down here and he loved it down here. He was from London as well, but he loved it down here. He moved, and then she moved and she became a teacher down here as well. And we used to come and visit them every year from 1980 till 2000, every single year. And then they would say, "Oh, move down," and we'd say, "No, like the city, like the diversity and all the rest of it." And eventually we did decide to move down in 2000. So Liz had a job at the local school here, Park School, teaching English. She got a job there, and I was a head of year at a school in southeast London, and I left the job and came down here and worked on supply to start with. And then I got a job at Ilfracombe Arts College, as it's called now. And I was at the school for 8 years. But I'd been 20 years previous in 2 schools in Lewisham, one for 5 years, one for 15 years, just over. So.
Great, thank you. And can you tell us, what do you enjoy the most in living in North Devon?
Well, I appreciate much more now the changing of the seasons. It sounds a little bit naff to say that, but I used to go to work in the autumn, for example, on the way to Ilfracombe, and it'd been green during the summer, then you get this brown, sort of golden brown effect of autumn, and especially on a nice day, a sunny day, that kind of thing. So I kind of appreciate a bit more about wildlife, if you like. But also I'm a musician, and the music is fantastic down here. You know, there's so much music. You can be out every night playing music if you wanted, just, you know, open mic type music, that sort of thing. What else about it? It's the city constantly changes, but the buildings are buildings in a sense. Whereas the countryside, you see changes in a different way. You see, like I said earlier, colour and big skies going from here to Torrington, clouds. In the city, everything's obscured, or much more obscured, by buildings. You know, it's obvious, really. But yeah, but I miss the city. I do miss the city. I like people. As I said, there's a kind of energy about the city which you don't have in the same way, shall we say, in the countryside.
Okay, and the next question really is, do you find anything difficult in living in North Devon?
Not at the moment, but I'm now 63, and there will come a time when I'm old, and if I survive, you know, but in all seriousness, as we get older, there are going to be problems. Say, for example, I couldn't drive a car anymore. The public transport system here is not good. Not good. In outlying villages. I mean, I live on the edge of Torrington, and even there, people, you know, there's a bus comes something like, I think it's twice a day now. But there's been cutbacks and because everything is supposed to pay for itself, nothing is subsidised. And it should be, you know. I'm a very strong believer in, you know, public transport, public services should be subsidised by the state. We pay our taxes, and I'm quite happy to pay them for those sort of things, you know. And libraries, all these things have been cut at the moment. So if you're, and also the local hospital, for example, where I live in Torrington, all the beds have been stopped, cut. So they still say it's a hospital, but it's like like a clinic, really. And this is happening all over Devon. There are 74 community beds in the whole of Devon at the moment. There should be a lot more, but there's 74, and they're cutting them back to 40. Yeah. So in terms of, if I stay healthy and fit for as long as we can, then we'll be able to drive the car around. But the danger is that if you're not healthy and you're not able to move easily, if you become less mobile, there are real issues. And especially if you haven't got, say, a local library to go into because they've shut it, because these things are happening. And people who are older need places for communication, to chat with each other as well. So it's very, very difficult in that respect, and over the next 5 years it's going to get very much worse, because they're planning billions of pounds of cuts in welfare, for example. So in hospital care is a worry, transport is a worry, public services in general is a big worry. But I'm still fit enough to be involved in resistance to that, shall we say.
Thank you so much. And is there anything else you would like to add?
Only I'm delighted that we're now into the 5th or 6th year with Sunrise, and it's a fantastic place to have for people to come to if they need to come here. I'm not saying every person who comes and settles in Barnstaple wants to come to Sunrise, but a lot of people do, and find it a good place to come meet other people, especially if they're, I was just talking to somebody earlier, you know, is on their own, likes company, and they can find out about things they can do and all sorts of things. So, and we can help people sometimes if they've got difficulties, or point them to somebody else. So all that's good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.